All right, I'm not going to hold the suspense any longer. Let's go down to Australia and bring in Toby. All right, we're here with Toby. Toby, thank you so much for being on the Laundromat Resource Podcast. We're excited that you're here today.
Thanks, Jordan. Yeah, really excited to be here as well. And can't wait to share our story with whoever's listening.
Yeah, well, we can't wait to hear it. But before we kind of get jumped into what you're doing right now, because you have a really interesting business model and a really interesting thing that you're doing. But before we get into that, I would love for you to just share with us a little bit about who you are and how you got into the laundromat industry.
Sounds good. I grew up in Sydney, Australia. I spent all my high school years here, and then actually was fortunate enough to head over to the US, to Seattle, and got a scholarship on the rowing team there. So spent some time in the States, came back and did my master's in Sydney, and then landed in Hong Kong for 4 years as a rowing coach. So definitely, if there was a word to describe me, it's well-traveled, and sort of had a really unique opportunity to explore parts of the world and meet lots of great people. And then in terms of the story of how I got into laundromat ownership, would be that about 2 years ago, one of my friends and now business partner sort of approached me with the concept of modern laundry. His parents were visiting from Spain, visiting him here in Sydney for his wedding, and they stayed in Woolloomooloo / sort of Potts Point area where we have our laundromat now, and they stayed in an Airbnb which didn't have laundry, so they had to use one of the local laundromats. And they just said to Carlos, "Why is everything so nice in Sydney?" But then when we went to the laundromat, there was some friction in the experience. So just got in thinking about why, and sort of he did some initial research, and then given my background in marketing and sort of retail and branding, he approached me, and we sort of went from there.
Yeah, that's pretty funny that you say that, because I think that's kind of a universal experience for a lot of people with, in laundromats, where you can be in the nicest areas, and for whatever reason, there's just so many laundromats that are so run down and old and dingy. So that's pretty funny. But yeah, good on you guys for finding that problem and figuring out a solution to it.
Yeah, thanks, man. I think there's definitely. We hope that what we've we're 3 weeks into our business now in terms of opening the doors to the public, and the response has been great so far. But just hope that we have sort of met a need in the market, and that what we've presented is something that people both want to use and will advocate for and get a really good experience with. So we're excited.
Yeah. So cool. Well, can you tell me a little bit about how the process of actually getting to that point 3 weeks ago where you opened the doors? How did you get to that point from idea a couple of years ago all the way to throwing those doors open a few weeks ago?
Yeah, we'd love to share it. We both kept our full-time jobs, so it meant that hence why it was sort of a 2-year process. So just meeting, started with meeting at least once a week, sort of going over how we wanted to, or I guess what would be our vision for a modern laundry, how we wanted to approach the business, what sort of experience we would want if we were to go have a need to use a laundromat, given that, if we were residents, it would normally be that you either had no internal laundry or a shared laundry, which is the case in the suburb that we're based in, or the community. Uh-huh. And then also, if we were traveling, there's a big backpacker and tourist population in this area, people traveling through, people staying in the local backpackers and hotels, given its proximity to Sydney CBD. Just really, I guess, meeting frequently, sharing ideas, speaking with other people that we either knew in the industry or that worked in the industry, reaching out to our network and sort of, I guess when you have an idea, then it's like, well, is this, is the business model viable? Is this something we want to be doing? Are we passionate about laundry? And I guess all the things that sort of come with that initial phase. And then once we had sort of made up our mind that we really wanted to give this, and have the confidence that we could give this a crack, we, sort of met more frequently, started to set up a company. I guess, a lot of people say during the process, don't share your ideas because someone will just copy you. And then when you set up a business, you realize, well, actually there's a lot that goes into being able to swing the doors open. So I definitely say, don't be afraid to share things and, ask for help and all those types of things, because, an idea is just an idea. It's what you do with it. So.
Yeah, I love that too, because, we were talking before we hit the record button, but there's such a scarcity mindset in the laundromat industry. And, you made the great point that, of all businesses, laundromats don't need to have a scarcity mindset because it's a necessity. It's one of the main needs that people have. And we all benefit when we, share those ideas and learn from each other. And so I love that. I think that's great.
Yeah, so, I guess, we want to sort of advocate and push more for that, not only within the laundromat industry, but sort of, across industry and sector as well. So,
absolutely. So you kind of went through and created a business model that you wanted to work towards, and went through the process of creating the actual business, which is, not necessarily the funnest part of the deal. But how did you decide if it was a good business model or not? You mentioned, trying to figure that out. Did you just through talking with people, or did you do any specific market research, or did you just, how'd you do that?
Yeah, it was a combination, definitely. I think both my business partner and I and our network have, either know people that have run their own businesses or are involved in high levels within organizations, both sort of big corporates and small businesses. So, the process was mostly through initially, I guess, a lot of talking with people, and then also doing a lot of market research in the area that we sort of thought there was the most need in terms of population density. As I said, people with either shared or no internal laundry that are currently experiencing some friction in their laundry experience, or that sort of transient backpacker / tourist hub, which some areas tend to be. So we went around to all the different laundromats in the area, looked at what service they were offering, what was the experience like, the comfort, what were any of the pain points, what areas did we like. And we also look globally for inspiration in, which laundries are doing it well, which kind of have a clear value proposition, which are communicating, areas beyond just, doing laundry, whether it be something around the environment or, comfort, or, just offering something unique, a unique selling proposition that they might have, whether it be, laundry and beer or laundry and coffee, or I guess, people have definitely put lots of different spins to the way they do it. But I think, if the idea is started with the customer in mind, then, that's the right way to go about it. So, that's sort of where we, in terms of market research, of, just sort of looking at Euromonitor and different things around the industry as a whole, and then sort of narrowing down to, ours is specifically, a self-service laundry for people coming in off the streets, and then we offer a pickup and delivery service for small businesses in the area. looking after things like towels, tea towels, that type of thing. So it was just sort of, again, with the businesses in mind, seeing, the saturation of small business in the area. Are they using laundromats? Are they using the big conglomerates that kind of give you the textiles and then have a contract with you to wash those? So just really sort of, I guess, because having one laundry, which we do at the moment, but hopefully more, is quite localized and specific to an area. You kind of need to be in there. We were at least coming to the area. We don't live in the area, but we were coming to the area at least once or twice a week just to kind of sit and understand, what are the needs of this community as far as their laundry.
Yeah. Okay. So you thought it was a good idea and you kind of set it up. So did you guys build it from the ground up? Did you buy an existing one and renovate it? How did that all work out?
We built it from the ground up. Yeah. So we kind of looked at, is there any franchise type model out there that, is hitting the mark? We couldn't find any, not that we wanted to do that, but we just thought it'd be worth sort of looking. And since I guess, as you said, a lot of the laundromats that you see are maybe not outdated, but just kind of have been there existing for a while. We just said, look, let's put our mind to building this from the ground up, doing it the way we want to do it, being in control of, the decisions that we want to make. So everything from finding a commercial lease, the space, to setting up the company, to finding, the equipment, so the washers and dryers we wanted to use, the pump system, detergent. Pretty much every decision came down to the two of us. So it was just sort of methodically thinking through, starting with a customer, what the end experience we wanted to be, and then working backwards from that as far as how we source different things and had different conversations. And it was strange because often we found a lot of the questions we were asking some of either the suppliers or people that are in the industry hadn't really heard before, or they would quite often say like, oh, like, here's the way it's currently being done. But often we were sort of like, well, I think, for the customer, this can definitely be rethought and sort of reimagined. So that's the way we went about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I love that you're injecting sort of fresh ideas and fresh just ways of looking at, at running a laundromat. I think that's needed in our industry. And I think that's, I think that's the way forward, it's moving that direction. What are some of those things that you consider, maybe a little more unique to your laundromat? I know you have a unique sort of premise. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your laundromat, your specific laundromat, and what your, the idea behind it is.
Of course. Yeah. So I guess it all starts with our vision. So almost from session one, we probably jotted down maybe 10 or so key points that we thought were the way we wanted to do things. So our vision is that with the planet at the heart of every decision we make, we wanted to be the company that best understands and satisfies the laundry needs of the community that we're in. So that sort of, with that vision, that sort of determined the way that we set things up. I guess in terms of the environment part, we just look to do things or what we thought at the time, would be, the best for the planet. So everything from the plant-based biodegradable detergent that we're using, the way that with our supplier of that detergent, we're able to send back the drums that they come in to be washed out and refilled. So there's a nice life cycle around that.
Oh, very cool.
The efficiency of the machinery that we're using. So we're using the Quantum Touch line from Speed Queen.
Uh-huh.
So the ability to dose the right amount of water based on the cycle that people are choosing. The option, for people to, you know, opt for cold wash should they want and still get a really good clean, given that about 70% of a washer's energy consumption goes to heating the water. So yeah, just really thinking around, you know, what, I guess in my own laundry use and also my business partners, we were just in our home washing, just doing what we've been shown by our parents, which was kind of just throw a bunch of chemical in with your stuff, choose hot water, choose boiling hot water because that's going to get everything clean.
Right.
You know, don't mix your colors and whites, throw in a ton of softener, all that type of stuff. So we just said like, well, is it needed? And then we went back to like testing it ourselves, seeing who was doing, best practices to who was getting a great result without, really putting harsh chemicals into our water system. Were we being honest about the result, in terms of, is this really getting things clean? So efficiency of the washers and dryers was big, but also in terms of uniqueness around the experience for the customer. I guess I keep coming back to that because that was sort of always where we based the decision we made. And we said, well, if we want to best understand and satisfy the laundry needs of a community, then we need to start with the customers or the people in that community. So, hence, things like we made our model completely cashless because Australia is one of the fastest adopters of cashless payments. So everyone was always saying, oh, we love it, or we hate carrying, hate needing to change coins or carry coins. And also we've got a pump system, which means that no one needs to bring any of their own detergent to our laundry. So it's sort of it's adding convenience for travelers because they don't, they're going to be here for a few days. They don't want to buy a big jug of liquid if they're only going to use it once or twice. And also the benefit of, I guess less plastic in the going to landfill, just based on the fact that, we're providing the detergent complementary with each wash. Just things around that convenience, that speed, really thinking through each part of the customer journey, whether that be before they arrive, being able to look on the website and see the status of machines, how many are being used, how long left in each cycle, through to once they arrive, sort of clearly stating, how to use the machines, the touch screen. Just keeping it super simple, but really effective at getting your clothes clean and then dry if you choose to.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I love, first of all, thank you on my behalf for my kids and, for doing your part in making sure that, the earth is going to be around and in good shape for them and grandkids and stuff. I think that that's huge. I would love for the laundromat industry to be thinking the same way. And it sounds like, what you're doing, it would be a good model for people who are building new laundromats to kind of take a look at and, to utilize in their builds too, because, not only is it, great for the environment and a great customer experience, but it's, the convenience factor of not having to bring your own detergent, not worry about that. And, having the cashless, system, is awesome for the customer, but it's also awesome for you. I would assume you're not collecting all those coins and,
definitely. Yeah. No, it means that everything feeds into kind of an insights platform that we have real time data on, how many turns per day, exactly how much revenue. We can even start to factor in. Well, we haven't got our first water, gas, and electricity bills yet, but once we do, we can factor in. Basically have an average cost per cycle on each machine and work out exactly, how much, see cash flow live, basically how much are we spending and how much are we bringing in? Plus the benefit of, things like maintenance, which machines are being used more frequently. So you can, we could move washer 1 into position 3, and that one gets a little bit more used to kind of keep maintenance down low, things like cleaning out lint filters more regularly based on, how often the closest dryer to the washer is getting used, which tends to be right now the most, is our experience is kind of, as you come in, it's a square shape. So it's wash on the right and then dry sort of in the middle directly in front of you. And then there's like a relaxed sort of chill out zone with charging ports and free Wi-Fi and complimentary filtered water and reading material and stuff like that on the left. So it tends to be that the dryers right sort of first in line as you get to the drying station are the ones that are used most frequently. But yeah, great to be able to see that stuff based on being completely cashless, as you said.
Yeah, I love that. 'Cause right now in my laundromats, I'm getting a lot of that data, but I'm having to use spreadsheets to do it. And it's just not the most convenient. I'm chomping at the bit to get, just that data a little more precise and a little more easily consumed than a spreadsheet.
Yep.
So.
Definitely. Yeah, no, we all look at too many spreadsheets already. So
I know.
Happy to share some information on what we're currently using, after this and then, see if there isn't something that you can implement for your business as well. So.
Yeah, I would love that. Well, I want to hear about some of the numbers, but real quick before we get into, I know your laundromat's new and it's kind of fun to see, one just blossoming and to see how it's doing and hear how it's doing and what's been going well and what's been a struggle or just different than you expected. But before we get into that, I'm curious as to what, over the last few weeks that you've been open, what does your work week look like and what do you kind of anticipate it looking like down the road?
Yeah, good question. So we've both my business partner and I have been here a fair bit, and that was always in our minds because even though we want the model to be mostly self-service, we thought that definitely with something quite new and modern, there needed to be a bit of an education phase on everything from usability of the touchscreen to just being here to learn. Really was sort of what we said. Like the first year is just for us is going to be a lot of learning and improving and we definitely went into this with sort of what in the startup world you call a bit like a minimum viable product, not meaning that we hadn't refined or got as close to what we thought we wanted from the start, but just that we knew we were going to be constantly, getting feedback and improving on everything from, the touchscreens to the experience. But I'd say, it's been long days, both being, observing customers in the shop while being kind of a host. So, people come in, we would show them how to use the touchscreen, educate them on the model if it was their first time in here. And that's proved to be, I think, a big part of why people have sort of advocated and spread word of mouth because of our willingness to kind of, or just openness to sort of, eager to show people how to use the machines and to remove that. I always felt like when I went into a laundromat that if it was my first time there, I was a bit unsure on, which machine to use, what to do. Am I welcome in here? Is this one for customers or for them to use for their Airbnbs or whatever they're doing? So it's just nice to kind of have someone there to sort of talk you through it on the first one. And then we've also left on some days at completely self-service. We have the ability just to lock all the areas that are sort of either back of house or our retail, sustainable retail away and observe it as people come in. And it was been funny to see like the shift in people that have used it a few times actually start to educate customers that come in for the first time. Just to really love to see. Like, it was great to see that. Like we sort of got CCTV cameras that can monitor the shop, but it's more so been just not a security thing, but actually just seeing how people move around the space and talk with each other and, share information. And so, yeah, it has been long hours to start, probably 60, 70-hour weeks on average. But we do see that shifting as our vision for what we're doing as owners is more towards my business partner and I more managing corporate, pickup and delivery service for gyms and cafes and salons in the area, plus other small businesses. And then, so that's kind of will be our focus if we're actually physically in the shop, and also being host as people come in during those hours, but then for the model to be self-service for a majority of the other parts of the day. So it's exciting to be able to get to that point. The harder we work now, the sooner we can get to that point. And I think because of my business partner Carlos, his experience with his wife owns a really successful patisserie and floristry in close by, actually in Woolloomooloo, to where we are in Potts Point. And just hearing her, not so much struggles, but the fact that as owners they're quite operationally involved in, as you can imagine, the preparation of the desserts and the pastry part, but also what goes into the flowers. So that for the first few years, it was difficult to manage the other parts of your business, which you really need to focus on if you're going to grow.
Right.
And so we had that in mind quite early. That we said, as much as we love to be take bag drops and do people's laundry and be there all the time, we also said, well, if we're going to really, with a vision of spreading this to the areas that need it, and making, if we're going to really truly make an impact on laundry being more sustainable, then we need to be in more than one location. So how do we free up our time to, look for site to do the marketing, talk to businesses, and just run and grow our business based on having the time and the resources to be able to do that.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of phase two of, well, it kind of leads to the next question is you alluded to the fact that you're hoping to get more. So what direction are you heading towards in the future? What are you hoping, are you hoping to get more? Are you hoping to get a lot more, or what's your current thinking?
So we
on
sort
it?
of, it's, we sort of broke it down into sort of short, medium and long term without being too specific. I think we definitely have goals and, our objectives to meet those goals, but we didn't want to, I guess we just sort of said let's make this a little bit more organic. And, this isn't just a 5 or 10 year thing and then we're done. We saw it more as, I guess an endless game in that sense that, this can go as long or as short as we want it to, but let's I guess our short term is to have two within, we want to have our second location open by the end of the year. That's sort of a big push at the moment.
Yeah.
And then I guess we're looking to have 4 or 5 in the next sort of probably 5 years, probably 4 in the next 5 years would be great. And then, from there, I guess we've also talked at the opportunity of either doing more of our own or potentially looking at something like a licensing model to allow us to spread this to more areas that need it, really.
Very cool. I like that. I like that it's it's big goals, but those are all very attainable goals, I feel like. So I think you might even find that, after you get a couple under your belt and you really learn it all, it might accelerate even more quickly than you're expecting. So
that'd be great. That'd be a nice nice thing to have. I think, I guess, with my background in retail as well, I guess I've also seen when that hasn't gone so well. So yeah, we're sort of definitely make sure that we're, it isn't just growth for growth's sake, but we're really, we're ready to grow and that we're growing for the right reasons. So I think that will kind of be the determining factor.
Yeah.
So
smart. Well, I mean, it sounds like you're doing everything real smart. So let's get down to business.
Let's get down to business. Over and out.
I know your laundromat is freshly opened, and so we'll just kind of keep that in mind. But just out of curiosity, let's learn a little bit about your laundromat. So you said you're in Sydney, right?
That's right. Yeah. So we're in Potts Point, which is about maybe a 10-minute walk to the Sydney CBD, 5 minutes by train. It's right near the famous King's Cross area.
Yeah.
And great area, really awesome community. Like a lot of the residents have been very supportive. A lot of the small businesses, all coming by to say hello and wish us the best and, extend, an invite to different things and, to let them know if they can help in any way, things like that. So, it's a cool area. Very happy cool to be in this community.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that the businesses are supportive in the area. So you have one right now with hopes of another one by the end of the year, right? And did you lease the space or did you buy the real estate?
We leased the space. So,
okay.
And then it turned out that our landlord became our builder. So he actually has his own construction company. So and does retail fit out. So yeah, it's kind of we had nice benefits in that and kind of working towards the same goal and vision, which is we're very blessed to have that opportunity to partner together on that.
Yeah, whenever you can kind of align your interests with the landlord's interests, that's a good thing, I think.
Definitely.
So what are you charging for your washes?
So yeah, we're going to be going on Aussie prices here. So,
yeah, that's all right.
We start our smallest washer is 9.5 kilograms, so probably a little bit bigger than actually most laundromats in this area. They normally start around the sort of, some of them have a 3 to 4 kilo machine, and then sort of ranging up to maybe a 7 or 8, and then their biggest might be a 10. So we sort of started with the sort of higher range. So for 9.5 kilos, including our premium detergent, it's $7.50. We then have a 14 kilogram machine, which is $12, 18 kilogram machine, which is $15. We then have our 2 sizes of dryer to support the relating washers. So 14 kilogram washer is $7.50 for 36 minutes, which we're still testing and playing around with the timing there. And then our 20 kilo machine is $10. And that's sort of, so we've got 3 of the 9.5 washers, 2 of the 14 kilogram washers, 1 of the 18. So quite a small, we're just operating in about a 42 meter squared space. So a lot smaller than the typical big mecca laundries in the States.
Yeah. Those are all the rage right now here.
What the big, lots of machines. Yeah. So we stripped that right back and just said, let's make what we do more efficient, and kind of incentivize people to keep things moving through the process. And then we have 4 of the 14 kilogram dryers and 2 of the 20 to support both the 18 kilogram washer and some of the 14, sort of the more heavily loaded 14 kilogram washers as well. So 12 machines in total. Currently, just because of the way that our card reader has been set up, we're not able to sort of offer a multi-ven type price where, say, you add an extra rinse or a sanitize. You're not able to adjust the single pulse amount on the card reader, but that's in development at the moment, and we hope to be able to look at different ways to price based on kind of just to meet our customers where they are. But also, just I guess a lot of that for us has been just communicating our value proposition, given that we are, I guess slightly more than competitors in the area. But then when we've broken it down sort of price per kilo, it becomes a lot more comparable. So that's sometimes just been a bit of an easier way for our, potential customer to understand what they're getting, the value they're getting rather than just looking at the price.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. I have no frame of reference for anything you just said. I don't have to go do research because I don't know what a kilogram is, and I don't know what an Aussie dollar is worth, and I don't know what a square meter is. So you just gave me a bunch of homework.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, perfect. I'm sure maybe you won't be the only one. But I guess we're definitely probably slightly higher than competitors in the area and in the market. But we think what we're offering is definitely worth the value that we're providing. And given that we do see such a range of residents that might live in the area, that given its proximity to the city, have a fair bit of disposable income, to someone that's just backpacking, 18 years old, they've landed from Europe, and they might just be looking at bottom dollar. But if you are able to kind of communicate your value in that limited time that you have their attention, often that we've seen that people have just made the choice to want to get their clothes either a little bit cleaner because of the more modern equipment, the premium detergent, a more relaxed atmosphere, somewhere to sit, somewhere to use Wi-Fi, all those little things that customer, how they come to their purchasing decision. So
I mean,
that's probably been one of the main challenges for us is just that value proposition, which I think, if I was to say one or two takeaways would be, making sure that you're constantly working on what value you're providing rather than just looking at, lowest price all the time.
I think that's the spot to be too. I think being slightly higher than other people, but offering significantly more value like you're doing, I think that's a sweet spot, and it's going to serve you well in the long run. So kudos to you.
Thanks.
Yeah. So
let's hope you're right.
Yeah. You may not know this yet, but do you have any feel of how many turns per day you're doing?
Yeah, well, actually, because of that insights platform that we have very
precise
clear data. Yeah. So last week, which was our third week, we did 3.2 turns per machine per day, which is actually, we thought we'd be at that mark by about month 4. So a little ahead of our projections. And that was purely self-service. So that wasn't any of the corporate. We've got 4 corporate clients that we service currently, a couple cafes and a massage place, and speaking with the gym today, which is exciting. But 3.2 turns, which is about an 800% increase on the week before in terms of revenue. So going the right way.
You keep at that 800% a week growth, and you're going to be in good shape in no time.
That's right. Yeah, no, we're, but it's good. I guess it's been good for us to see that, we were, I guess, quite conservative in our projections, and that we're sort of been hitting them or meeting them nearly every day. So I guess, it's a good place to be in financially and for your cash flow when you've, made sure that you've got enough money there to support both, your growth, but also just, fixed and variable costs that you'll incur. So,
yeah. Good. Okay. So right now you and your partner are attending it. Is that correct?
That's right. Yep. So we are splitting our time sort of half days, and sometimes we both stay the full day. But we are also leaving, to see other sites and to have meetings and to just, we'll just go for a walk to talk to businesses. So attended probably half of the day, and then unattended the other half at the moment.
Okay. Good.
And we just kind of base that on, like, where we've seen there's quiet times, we even just sometimes sit back of house, answering emails, creating, delivering our marketing campaigns, reaching out to, building our CRM or customer relationship management tool to, reach out to the businesses that we want to be speaking with.
Yeah.
Proactively, and understanding what are their needs and who are they currently using and what was our last interaction with them. It does all take, it all takes time and energy to do that. So that was why we said, let's, as nice as it would be just to make as much revenue as possible, perhaps stepping back and away from it a little bit to focus on other areas is in the long run going to be the way to go.
Yeah. Are you guys doing any like online advertising or offline advertising?
Not really. Wouldn't say advertising, definitely marketing. Like, we're not spending anything online. We are actively looking, and I guess my background in marketing has been executing, marketing campaigns from social media. So we're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, anywhere where our customers going to be and wanting to connect with the brands that they buy from or learn from or educate. We said that we didn't just want to market or engage people at the moment of them, you can't, or not you can't, but our approach wasn't that we want to just tell people to buy from us all the time. We want to provide value early on in their, in their customer journey. I guess for laundry, customer journey is ongoing, right? So we wanted to, someone looks up a blog on how to wash more sustainably. They might find our content. They might learn a little bit about us, what we're doing, what detergent we're using, settings for your washer and dryer, that type of thing. But we're also, we've got a Google My Business page that we're constantly updating. We've got some flyers that we printed on recycled paper that, we made specific to the promotion that we wanted to run. So we ran like a little opening promotion where we incentivize people to download our the Speed Queen app, which then connects with our store, which is our loyalty program. So we offer our customers, our loyal customers, every $75 they spend, they get 10% of that back to use towards a complimentary wash or dry.
Nice.
But the app also acts as their eyes and ears for the laundry. If they want to leave, they can look on the app and see exactly how long on their wash is left or their dry. They could go and get a coffee and then get a text message or email saying your laundry will be ready in 4 minutes. Head back to the lab to keep moving it through the cycle. So convenience for the customer, ease of use. You can look in the app and see which machines are being used before you come down to see if it's a busy or quiet time to come. You can also, just lots of benefits in the app. You can preload your account with credit there. So you just, as soon as you get there, connect with a washer, pay for it right there and then, and put your things in and off you go. So
that's awesome. I love that.
Well, we definitely said, we had the benefit of the app that's been developed by Speed Queen. We definitely said we don't just want an app for an app's sake or because, we get data. It was more just the data is a nice benefit of this, because as they sign up, they need to put in their name and email and phone number and all that good stuff that eventually when we do have value to offer them, whether it be an invite to the events that we run like we're going to run some sustainably focused events in our space, working with local artists, with local businesses to just share stories on what they might be doing in a particular industry or how they're living a more eco-friendly or eco-friendly lifestyle, things like that. So when we come out with new blog content, if they've read before, we've got a place where they can subscribe and get more of that. yeah, all that type of stuff that's just less transactional and more just being a brand that people associate or think of when they have a need to do their laundry.
I love all of that. I think what you guys are doing is so cool. Just on multiple levels, from building it from the ground up. Was that scary, by the way? Building that thing from the ground up, never done it before, and doing things a little bit differently than what you've seen around, and that seems scary.
Yeah, I think there's definitely always, I guess, with any business, probably going to be some fear associated for both my business partner and I. This was our first venture into the entrepreneurial world. So there was definitely that fear, but then, building something that, I guess a lot of the initial research and things we've done is just going to be based on assumptions, right? Like you can never fully know that there's that need there until you're open. And even though someone might, take one of your questionnaires and say that, yes, they're experiencing, like when they get to their shared laundry, it's always full and people have left powder on the floor and the machines are old and, but now we're actually, there was the fear, but now it's nice to see that, I guess if you have spent the time really doing it the right way and thinking about it the right way, that, we're hearing a lot of these stories now come up, real evidence of people that have said, my building just got top loaders and put something in and it ripped up my cashmere thing. And so here I am, like, it's easier for me to come here and know that I can get a good wash quality. So it was interesting to hear that, like, even some of our assumptions that were like, no one's going to walk more than 500 meters to do their laundry. Whereas we've had people come from like suburbs that might be 5-10 kilometers away just because they found us on Google and we had our hours updated. Simple things like that you're like, wow, like who knew, right? until you're there. But I'd say so. Definitely don't be turned off by the fear. Just let it motivate you to really put the time in to do the right type of research and investigative work to be confident in your assumptions. And then when you do have the chance to test it, make sure that you do, and then improve your experience.
Yeah. Very, very lean startup of you. I love it. It's great.
Yeah. Well, actually, that is it Dan? I think his book. I'd actually read that during the whole phase. So we did take a lot of that lean startup approach, which is sort of built on the sort of Japanese manufacturing model through to, I guess we thought of our laundry as a startup and less of just starting a laundromat business, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love everything you're saying is just resonating with me. I love the way that your guys' mindset is, coming into it and how you're thinking about everything. And I don't know. I think you're destined to be, going like gangbusters in no time, like you are already. So, this little segment I like to call the secret sauce.
Listen up, it's the secret sauce.
What I want to know from you is, taking into account it's early still, but what's something that you found is really working well for you that other owners could implement in their business and see good results, in their business too?
I think for us, it's been having a purpose, if that makes sense. So as I said, from early on, we sort of said, like, this isn't, are we going to be fulfilled just by hopefully, or just by, the thought of making lots of money, which was, you do need a business to operate. But we also just said, having that purpose of delivering on our vision of being better for the planet, but also, really looking to understand the laundry needs of your customer has at least for me, I can't speak for Carlos, but I know he feels the same way. It's given just that extra bit of motivation and like a self-purpose, if you will. So like not just a purpose for the business, but something in my own life that I, when I might be sitting there at 11 p.m. when my wife and baby have gone to bed, and I could easily fall asleep because I've had a long day. I'm there looking through, the B Corporation website. B Corp being they're a not-for-profit that helps for-profit businesses balance purpose with profit. So they come in and you do a self-assessment, and then they come and independently verify you based on your social and environmental performance, and then give you the certificate. And I think there's about 3,500 brands globally now that are part of this B Corp. But yeah, just having that purpose that gives you that little bit of motivation. I'm getting up at about 5 a.m. at the moment to make the hour bus ride into the lab each morning. And having that purpose of, well, this isn't just like a money-making process for us, which hopefully comes to, but it's something a little bit more. And just hearing the feedback from customers and educating them and seeing their own habits change as well. And, I didn't know that. And, wow, that's, I didn't realize that a washer, it can be more effective when it's a little bit more full because of, the friction between the clothes and the agitation. A lot of people tend to want to put, which is strange to see, like, people want to spend more just because they think a bigger washer is going to get a better clean, or they might think that hot water is always best, or they might think that they need to, put a harsh bleach or chemical in to remove a stain. So it's that education and that knowing that what we're doing hopefully is both better for the customer and the planet, and being able to make a difference and a bit of a change has been what's at least really motivated and driven us to keep pursuing that.
I mean, probably getting sick of hearing me say it, but I just love what you're saying. And I think you're right. I think, having a big why, a big reason, a big purpose of, why you're doing what you're doing. And, I think for a lot of business owners in general and laundromat owners too, it's easy to slip into this is something that I use to make money. And we forget about the customers. We forget about the importance of, how we're doing things and why we're doing the things we're doing. And, just having that at the forefront, kind of driving you and motivating you and helping you, guiding the decisions you're making, I think is huge. So yeah, thanks for that secret sauce. That's a valuable one. I like that.
Pro tips.
I want you to speak to, maybe 6 months ago, somebody who's new, who's maybe an investor or a business owner who wants to get into the laundromat industry. Do you have one piece of advice that you would give to somebody who's new or to yourself, 6 months, a year ago?
I think what we've learned through this whole process is don't be afraid to ask for help, both of your network and also people that, might be in a position or, where you want to get to or own a laundry that you see is operating really well. I think at least for both of us, at the start we were, maybe the first few weeks sort of keeping it just between ourselves. And then as we started to, realize that, well, we both don't have an accounting background and we've never run a business. And, we just started to realize that, this isn't a burden that you're putting on people by asking them for help. It's actually people like to help. People get a sense of, that they feel just as rewarded as you do when they do help. And that it really helps to speed up the process and think through some of these complicated things that might just be spinning through your head that would take you a lot longer to get the answer to if you didn't reach out to those people. And just the opportunities that it opens up as well, as far as, partnerships and exploring different avenues that you might not have thought of that, suddenly become, really important parts of your business model or what you're doing in terms of sustainability or thinking about things a little bit differently or how to manage your time a little bit better, all those things. So yeah, that would be probably the pro tip that I would share is, ask your family, ask your friends. You're going to get a lot of, you're probably going to get a lot of people, some of them just sort of, not being that responsive just because it is laundry and it doesn't excite everyone. But you'll get a lot of people that are, believe in you and want to see you do well and want to share, their thoughts and their experience with you.
Yeah, I think that's so good. When I first got into the industry, I didn't really talk to a ton of people about it, and I didn't really know who to talk to about it either. So I think, I think it's huge to, not go in on it, on your own alone for the first time and reach out to other owners. And, some are going to talk to you and some won't, and that's okay. But don't be afraid to talk to other owners and other business owners and, get that input, get that advice, especially for areas that you're weaker in, like accounting or whatever. So awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think it's so many, because you realize there's so many different hats that you need to wear at different points. So you can't be expected to be an expert in all areas. So really find the right people or who you think are the right people. They might not be, but they might be able to introduce you to someone who is, and go after it. Be persistent as well. Just because someone says no the first time doesn't mean they won't be receptive again. So
yeah, I love that. Do you have any resources that you would recommend? Books or blogs or YouTube channels or podcasts or anything that you would recommend, that maybe helped you along your way in entrepreneurship or investing or something like that? Do you have anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, we talked about one earlier. So that was The Lean Startup, which is a book. I can't remember the author's name now. There's also quite like the work of Simon Sinek. We also spoke about him a little bit earlier, but he's got a great book called Start With Why, which is all around, really setting the purpose for you and then for the business and how that flows on to, and gives you energy for everything that you're doing. I'm also a big podcast man, so I quite like How I Built This, which is an NPR podcast by Guy Raz, and he interviews now big CEOs and people that have started businesses, people like brands like Patagonia, a whole range of business owners on there. I think he's got around maybe 40, 50 podcasts with leading entrepreneurs, and they just cover their story on how they started, how they came up with the idea, what were their initial steps to building, what was their vision for the company, what were some of the roadblocks, just their journey and story into entrepreneurship.
Awesome. I keep hearing about that podcast and I haven't listened to it yet. So maybe this put me over the edge and I'll finally listen to it. I'm a big podcast guy too. So
yeah, jump on there. Yeah, they're nice. And I think they're half an hour. And it's amazing hearing, these people that are now very successful, that went through a lot of the same challenges that we're either facing now or have or will face. So I thought that it was great to hear that we're not alone in this, and that even the biggest brands went through what we're going through, and just to keep pushing and keep working towards your goal.
Yeah. I love that. Well, last question for me is what's the best way for listeners to connect with you? Maybe they have questions, maybe they're interested about the way that you're doing business, or maybe they just want to connect with you. They're down there with you and maybe want to meet up with you. What's the best way for them to connect with you?
Perfect. Yeah, no, I'd love to, love the opportunity to meet anyone and speak with anyone that wants to reach out. You can reach me on my email, which is Toby, Toby, Laundrolab, laundrlab.com.au. You can also follow us on Instagram, which is Laundrolab _official. And they're probably the two best ways to reach me, or connect with Toby Dankbaar on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, Toby, it has been awesome having you on. I really appreciate you coming on and telling us about your journey, and wish you the best of luck. And we're definitely going to have you back on for an update here down the road, and hear how things are going, and how many you have in your portfolio by the end of the year.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, definitely. Excited for this next little phase of growth and what we're doing. It's really been good to reflect on what's what's happened so far and what's to come, but also the chance to meet you and share some of this with other listeners.
Well, awesome. We really appreciate you. And for Laundromat Resource Podcast, this is Jordan and Toby, and we're signing off. We'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
Man, I told you it was going to be awesome. I told you that what they're doing is very cool, very well thought out, and just a really amazing concept. I was just struck by how far down the line they thought in terms of making this an eco-friendly, sustainable laundromat, and not only wanting to serve their customers the best that they can and bring the value like Dave Mins talked about last week in show number 2, but also in doing what's best for our planet and doing what's best for the earth. And so I really love that, and it really inspired me. And I'm taking another look at the way that I'm running my laundromats and seeing, hey, what are some things that I can do? What are some ways that I can just make sure that I'm doing the best that I can for not just my customers, but also for our planet, for my kids and grandkids when I have them, and your kids too, whether you have them yet or not. So big thank you to Toby. Big thank you to you guys for sticking around and listening to this. I hope you pulled something amazing out of this episode that you can implement in your business, or something that inspires you to keep moving forward towards your goals. Whether that be for financial freedom or whatever it might be. I hope that you felt inspired today and got something that will help propel you along that path. So thank you again for listening. This is the Laundromat Resource Podcast, show number 3. Jordan,